people you have lunch?
Right now, just me and you, buddy.
On average.
It just depends. Good question. Each episode reaches, I don't know, between the YouTube channel and the podcast platform. I don't know, between 300, 400, 500 per episode or something like that. So yeah, it's growing. It's getting there. Yeah. But hey, man, thanks for coming in.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, buddy, appreciate it. And happy birthday, by the way.
Thank you.
So you're going to be how old?
40.
40.
Tomorrow.
Here you go. Pull this thing a little bit closer to you, so that folks can hear you.
They good?
Yeah, I think so. I don't know. We'll find out.
All
right. So you're turning 40 tomorrow?
Tomorrow.
Oh man! And what are you gonna do for your birthday?
We're heading up to App. Me and my wife and my 2 little girls and my mom. I'm gonna go snowboarding for the day.
All day?
Yeah. Well, me and my 5-year-old. We're gonna.
She snowboards?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, she's been riding. This is her 3rd year riding. Yeah.
So you started when she was 2?
Started when she was 2. Started pulling her around. I had a little leash. We'd pull her around wherever we were, up in the mountain, or we were up in Vermont. My wife's from Vermont, so.
Now, did you live in Vermont for a while?
No, I lived in Alaska and I lived in Oregon.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah.
So my kids, they're 3, but it's never even crossed my mind to put them on like a snowboard or skis. Probably because I am not coordinated with my feet. Hands fine, great.
Yeah.
My feet, man, I'm an ACL tear waiting to happen, or a concussion, or who knows what. I love sports.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and I'd still love sports today. But when it comes to like skiing, like for example, the first time I ever went skiing, I spent the first hour and a half on the bunny slope with the little kids, and the little bastards were sitting there when I would fall, and they were like, "Ha ha, you can't ski!" And these little shits were going around me. Yeah. Oh yeah, like I was struggling pulling the rope, and it was dragging me. My skis are going everywhere.
They just laugh at you.
Oh, they were brutal, and they're like 5-year-olds.
Oh, yeah, I remember those days.
Yeah, but you were 5, I was 29.
Yeah.
So it was a little different, You'll talk about, and the girl I was dating at the time, I was like, no, I'm going to go over here and get a little comfortable, and you just go do your thing. She's like, sure, yeah. Literally an hour and a half later, she's like, Are you okay?
I'm good.
And I'm like, yeah, I think I've almost got this licked. Want to go get a drink? I think it's better at that.
Yeah.
But
somebody's got to sit in the lodge and
hold it down.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's one of those things where I will go. I've only went one other time since, I believe. Yeah. But I see it. It looks beautiful. Everyone looks like they're having a great time. I will see you in the lodge.
I mean, they got plenty of tubing hills out there now, so
you can. You know what? Where's the place where you can go tubing?
Hawks Nest has a huge tubing hill now. Hawks Nest used to be just a small ski resort now. Yeah. But now I say ski resort, ski hill. But now it's all tubing. That's all it is. So
and that's up in Hawks Nest. So adults and kids go.
Yeah.
It's probably very family oriented.
Yeah. Yeah. But I know Beach and Sugar both have a tubing hill, I believe.
So when you guys are going up there tomorrow, do they have enough like real snow, or do they have to make the snow?
They're making snow.
They're making snow. Yeah. And you guys are going to where?
Appalachian Ski Mountain.
Yep, that's where I went because it's real icy, right?
Yeah.
Typically.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a death trap.
Definitely a little rough. I mean, it's North Carolina is definitely not the place to learn how to ride.
See, that was my problem.
Yeah.
I'm gonna chalk it up to that. I shouldn't have learned here. I should have went to Vermont.
You end up with a broken tailbone or something. Because every little fall hurts here.
You ever broken your tailbone?
About 3 or 4 times.
Are you serious? Yeah. Man, that's bad luck.
I used to flip a lot of 4-wheelers and a lot of.
I've broken my coccyx quite a bit.
Yeah.
So you're an expert at the donut pillow.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. We I think the worst time we were in the state playoffs playing baseball, and I was a center fielder and leadoff hitter, and me and a couple of guys were riding 4-wheelers and racing, and I was on the 3-wheeler, and I got ran up a tree and flipped it and rolled down the hill, landed on a root, broke my tailbone, and tried to run out, and the coach came. He's like, "Dude, what's wrong?" And it was me and his son, and it was all their 4-wheelers that we were riding. We didn't ride 4-wheelers for a while after that.
I guarantee you didn't do a lot.
No. That's a bad bone. I mean, other than the nose, tailbone's a pretty bad bone to break.
Yeah,
there's nothing you can do.
No, there's nothing you can do. It has to heal on your own. But you don't understand every step. When you
Yeah.
walk,
It
it's
hurts.
jarring,
Yeah.
right? Especially if you're a hill walker, like a hill stomper. Oh man, that's vibrating.
Yeah.
Every time you sit down and go to the bathroom, sit down and sit in the car. I mean, everything's like, ooh, just even pushing up. I've never broken my tailbone, but I've taken care of patients who have.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's one thing. I don't want to do that.
No.
I don't go through that. No. So you guys are going up there tomorrow and just going to be snowboarding all day?
Yeah. Ride all day and go grab some dinner and head home.
Now, how long have you been skiing, snowboarding? Or when did you start, I guess?
I probably started when I was like 14, 15, maybe.
On skis?
That's on skis. Yeah, I started on skis. And that was probably like 95, 94, 95. And then in 96, I started working for Ski and Tennis Station in Winston-Salem. And they've been in business since 1977. But I worked for him for 2 years when I was in high school and really fell in love with it.
And when did you transition over to snowboarding?
When I realized skiing wasn't cool. So, like, the next year.
The next year?
Yeah.
Is it easier to learn how to snowboard or is it easier to learn how to ski?
For a young kid, it's easier to learn how to ski.
Let's say you're 40 with a bad back.
I would probably go the Tubman Hill.
Thanks.
Yeah. I mean, they're both. I would take a lesson. I mean, I wouldn't waste your time going out and getting beat up unless you just like want to go to the lodge and drink halfway through the day. But if that's your end goal, then don't get a lesson. Go to the top. Roll down, fumble your way down, and stay in the lodge the rest of the day.
It is amazing to me that more people aren't like catastrophically injured from skiing.
Like back when snowboarding started, there was a lot of lawsuits against Burton.
Who's Burton?
The snowboarding company. He bought the patent from the guy that created snowboarding. Jake, he just passed away about a week and a half ago.
Oh wow.
Yeah, Jake Carpenter. He, the founder of Burton Snowboards. But he battled cancer and another rare disease, and it finally took him. But he had so many lawsuits against him because people were getting hurt snowboarding, and they want to blame somebody, so they blame the guy who created it, and they wanted to sue Burton Snowboards. So they first sued the lodge, the ski resort, and then the next step was let's sue the guy that made this snowboard that we bought and put on our kids' feet, and they got hurt.
But there has to be some sort of self-accountability for that. No one forced you, no one made you to do that.
Yeah.
Do you know if they won the lawsuit against them?
No,
they shouldn't have.
They did against the lodge, I think, but I think the one that I remember reading about was they sued the ski resort for like $60,000, or I think they sued for like $100,000. They won 60. They took that 60 and invested it and hired an attorney for a class action lawsuit against Burton
and lost
that
$60,000 plus probably more.
Yeah,
it's interesting that this conversation came up organically about suing people who make stuff because I overheard some gentlemen today having a very passionate discussion about something along the same lines about being able to sue gun manufacturers,
right?
And should it be, should it not be? And they were having a very, like I said, passionate discussion. And as I was leaving, one guy said, "Well, what do you think?" And I said, "Well, since you asked," I said, I don't think you should be able to do that because it's going to open Pandora's box to suing any sort of manufacturer for anything. For example, the iPhone. 6,000 people die per year from using their smartphone while driving. So if you're going to start that ball rolling, it's going to roll into everything.
Right.
To the car manufacturers, to, shoes, to everything. So regardless of what your feelings are about firearms at this moment, you have to look at the bigger picture.
Yeah,
if you can sue them, then you get to sue everybody.
Oh, yeah.
So
yeah, our parents got us Red Ryder BB guns when we were 8, 9
Yes, you had to have a Red Ryder.
And if you got shot and you got hurt, my parents never were like, "Who made this gun?"
Actually, you should shoot Red Ryder and A Christmas Story.
Yeah.
Because how many Red Ryder BB guns do you think were sold because of A Christmas Story?
And how many eyes were put out because of that?
Less than as many that were sold.
Yeah. But I mean, it's I think if everybody just said, okay, you know what, I bought a Tesla and I thought it would drive itself, and I fell asleep and I got in an accident.
Right.
That's going to happen.
Oh, sure. It's already happened.
Oh, well, see,
yeah.
Shows what I know.
Well, yeah, it's happened, I think, out in Arizona or somewhere that the Tesla was on auto, whatever, and that it ran either into someone and killed the driver or killed a pedestrian or someone else because the car was driving itself.
Yeah. So, I think you could blame. When I was living in Oregon, I was going to school at Eastern Oregon. Before I got out of the Air Force and left Alaska, I bought my first ever brand new car. Mm-hmm. And why I did it when I was becoming a ski bum, I'm not sure, but I bought a brand new Volkswagen Passat, loaded, heated seats, everything. I was leaving Alaska. I was like, I don't need a 4-wheel drive anymore. So got it, moved to Eastern Oregon, and was driving from LeGrand, Oregon, back to Portland, and I kept feeling something on my leg. Felt like a bee sting a couple times while I was driving, and then I started smelling something burning, and I looked down, and the seat coil had burnt through the seat cushion and through my shorts and burnt. I just thought it was. I have a pretty high pain tolerance, but I thought it was a bee sting, but it burnt a welt on my leg, and I took it to Volkswagen and dropped it off, and my seat coil burnt through the seat. I need you guys to fix it. Whatever you got to do. And there was no problem. We'll fix it. And here's a coupon for lunch, and
they saw
your Jaguar for the week, and and they calling me to keep me updated. It was like awesome customer service, and I came back and gave me another coupon for food after they gave me my car for a restaurant in downtown Portland, and this is awesome. You guys do this to everybody? And the guy said no, but you could have sued Volkswagen.
Oh yeah, 100%.
So we wanted to make sure that you were taken care of. I mean, growing up in the South, growing up around here, like suing somebody never crossed my mind.
No, not at all.
I mean, my basketball coach undercut me in my sophomore year and broke my arm. My parents didn't go to sue the school because I broke my arm.
Right.
They just said,
if it's a different world now, man.
Yeah.
And you're in the insurance business, so you know.
Right. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Well, yeah. And everybody's, if you're driving a truck with business name on it, they know that you've got to have at least $500,000, $1 million limits. And I mean, we hear people all the time that people play that game. They are riding, and they jerk out, and their buddy's sitting in front of them with the brakes slammed on, and the dump truck or whatever truck rear ends a car.
So that's a real thing.
That's a real thing. Yeah.
How often would you say that you think that happens?
I mean, we're a small agency.
I won't hold you to the number.
But I don't know how often. It happens more than you think.
How are they able to prove it?
They don't have to. They got rear-ended. And
that's all that matters. So now the insurance.
We had a guy that, a car on 40 broke down, didn't have flashers on. People were out of the car on the side of the road. Trucks heading down the road. Doesn't see any brake lights, doesn't see any flash. Just assumes that car's going. By the time he realizes the car's dead stopped and starts to lock up his brakes going 70 miles an hour. And, he's got a huge load on. He can't slow down, and he ends up hitting the car. Nobody in the car, but guess who got an ambulance? Everybody that was on the side of the road.
No.
Yeah. So, I mean, that stuff happens. I mean, it's and that's why more and more trucks are having cameras and, on their vehicles. A lot of our insureds now, they have cameras on, especially commercial vehicles. They have cameras on their vehicles because they got to have proof. And up in Union Grove, he's got a trucking company. Same kind of thing. This girl swerved over, and she swerved into the truck and hit the side wheel of the 18 wheeler, and then ran off the road and spun out in the median. And the truck driver pulled over to make sure she was okay. Mm-hmm. Did the right thing, but he didn't move. He stayed in his lane. They had cameras. Well, she was fine. She kind of was like, it's my fault. Well, she gets home. Evidently, her dad was just like, no. So he he tried to file a claim against and hired an attorney and tried to sue the trucking company. Well, the owner of the truck company sends the dad, the video clip, and he said, I just want you to watch this video, and I want you to watch center line, and I want you to watch your daughter's car. And if you feel like you want to move forward with this, go ahead and call me back. Never heard back from him.
He never heard back.
Because he had a video that showed her texting and running into the side of him.
Oh, she was texting too? Yeah. Oh, man.
And it stinks because it affects everybody's,
insurance or premiums and everything. So. Damn. Interesting. I know a guy who owns a business down in Charlotte, and he has a warehouse, and he has one of those. Is it Nest, maybe like a Nest cam or something like that? One of those security system cameras. And they had a basketball goal in the back area there where they store stuff.
Yeah.
And his boss, came up to him and said, "Hey, let's go get on the truck." And he turned around, and the guy shot one more time, and then he went up to like do a layup or a dunk and popped his patella tendon. And dude, it looked like something that you would see on Barstool Sports or something on social media. And he was just like, "Ah!" He laid down and just started wailing. But he tried to file it on workers' comp. And then so he was like, "All right, cool, no problem. Yeah, okay. Here, let me send you guys this video."
Yeah.
And I don't believe they covered that. Because number one, he didn't go to stop to go perform the job that he's hired to do. And number two, he wasn't performing a working task. So but that basketball goal is no longer there. It is gone.
Yeah, no, I think there's and they try. I mean, every company tries their best to prevent insurance fraud, but it happens.
It just it has my wheels spinning. Like, people can sue for anything, especially if you're a company or they see a label on a truck or something like that. They're like, "Oh yeah, they're insured."
Yeah, and that's what they look for.
It kills some of the entrepreneurial or creative spirit, But you got to go. You got to move forward.
This is the funniest story I've heard lately, and this was about 2 weeks ago. It's a plumber we hired to. We're building a house. We hired this plumber, and I was talking to him about his insurance, and he said, "I gotta wait. I'm in the middle of a lawsuit." And I was like, "Well, what's this lawsuit?" He said, "I'll try to make it short, but." He said, basically, I did a housing project in Hickory, public housing project. And this couple that was living in the public housing for free, and because it was the government housing, and so they were on every government subsidy, just like they were, he was disabled, she was disabled, husband and wife, and he was in a wheelchair. They had a nurse that was paid for,
right,
that came in to help him get in the shower and get him day started anyway. Well, he put the shower pan in, this plumber, and showers have water in them, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
Or at least the ones I've been in.
Well, anyway, he decides to get in the shower without his nurse one morning and slips because there's water in the shower. Surprise. And so they hired an investigator or whatever they hired to come in and show, and they were able to show that there was a dimple that was, I think he said it was like 1/8 of the width of a dime that was holding water. So he sued for $1 million. He hadn't won. They haven't won yet. But he sued for $1 million, and his wife sued $500,000 because of, and he said on the paperwork, it actually said because of her, how it was basically how it affected her sex life. Because now this man in a wheelchair now is able to perform even less than he was before. It made no sense to me, but it was a real lawsuit, and it's crazy.
You know what I'm hearing? Even though the ladies and dudes are in the wheelchair, they still want to get it on.
Yeah, and
not really. That is.
So, and this guy's
how old were these? You don't know how they were, but
I don't know. He just told me about 2 weeks ago. But this guy worked his tail off to build, his business.
Yep.
And from just him, and now he's got like 15, 20 employees, and doing big commercial jobs, big residential jobs, and got 3 or 4 crews, and now he's got to deal with some garbage like this from somebody that just wants to.
Don't you think it's interesting that, like, for example, if you were working at work right? And you get hurt, and the government looks at you and goes, "Okay, so you hurt your shoulder. Well, you're X amount of age.
Yeah.
You do this job. Your career earning potential is X. You're going to have a 10% disability. So your shoulder is worth X amount of dollars, and that's all we're going to pay you.
That
and that's
makes
it.
Sense.
But that's workers' comp.
Right.
But if you come in and I slip and fall, then I can sue for the maximum amount of whatever your insurance policy is. Just like with a doctor. Doctor carries $5 million of medical malpractice. Sweet, we can sue for $5 million.
Yeah.
However, if I'm on the job somewhere else, the government's like, "Yep, you get a maximum of $90,000 for that."
Yeah, I don't know.
Or whatever the injury may be.
I just think if everybody understood that nobody's going to be perfect. Even we built a foundation for our house in the basement, and it leaked. Wasn't supposed to leak.
Right.
I'm not suing anybody.
No.
Just trying to fix it.
Just fix it.
Yeah.
Right.
Just trying to figure out how to fix it. I called the guy, told him, like, let's come. I'll come look at it. We'll figure out how to fix it. I'm like, that's fine. I don't need to sue you.
No, just come fix it.
I don't want to ruin your life.
No.
I mean, it hadn't ruined mine.
No.
Just a little leaky
Plus,
wall.
it's too much headache.
Yeah.
Plus, at the end of the day, don't the attorneys really win anyway?
Yeah. They do. Yeah.
Exactly.
They do win.
So, speaking of all the exciting stuff about businesses and owning this and having insurance and coverage, you also own a business.
Yes.
Correct?
Yeah. Me and my wife, and actually the guy that I worked for when I was in high school, he helped me develop relationships with like Patagonia and Burton, North Face. And cool because those are brands that you just don't open the doors and say, hey, we want to carry your brand. It just doesn't happen. So he agreed to help us get started and avoid some of the mistakes that we would make without him. So he's got 40 years experience, and me and my wife, we're just it's something I've always wanted to do. She's from Vermont. It's something she's always wanted to do. Well, I wouldn't say she's always wanted. There's days where why did we do?
Oh yeah, that's right.
But I think that's any business.
My wife looks at me the same time. She's like, "Why did I marry you?"
She definitely does that.
I'm just kidding. Just kidding, honey. So you guys own Roots Outdoor in downtown Statesville.
Yes.
How did you guys come up with the name?
We kind of went round and round with different ideas, but I was born in Statesville. I was here till I was in like second grade. So, my whole family, the Carneys, which is my mom's side, and the Martins, my last name is my dad's side. But I feel like even though I grew up in Yadkin County most of my life, that Statesville was like where my roots were.
Yeah.
Doug at Ski and Tennis Station, who helped me open, was kind of where I fell in love with snowboarding. So that was kind of my roots of falling in love with snowboarding and board sports. So the outdoor thing was just kind of like we decided to use outdoor rather than like ski or snowboard shop because it left it as a broad. It didn't narrow us into just skiing or just snowboarding. It was like, we're Roots Outdoor. We can camping, we can do hiking, we can do mountain climbing, we can do snowboarding, skiing. And thank goodness we did because we didn't do that well with skis and snowboards like selling our first year. Now we rented a lot and we still do that, but going into our second year, we decided to invest that money that we put into hard goods back into soft goods because there's more people in Statesville that just want a Patagonia jacket or a North Face jacket or a pair of cool pants or there are more people that want that than want to buy a pair of skis and go to the mountain.
But that's a good learning experience for you guys. You think maybe this is going to be what your vision is and what you want, but then the customers kind of dictate to what it's turning out to be. Right.
Yeah. When I think if you don't, and thank goodness we do have Doug because he's like, when we first started, he's like, you don't know who you are yet. You're still trying to figure it out, and it's going to take you a couple of years before you figure out what you are and what people in states will want you to be. And that's if you go into it with that mindset. I think a lot of businesses like us fail because they don't listen to their customers, and they don't. And it's not even listen. They don't have to say anything. You can just look at what's left at the end of the season and be like, okay, they didn't like this,
right?
They didn't buy it, so let's just get rid of it and let's not carry it again.
There you go.
And 3 years it may be different. 3 years it may be a complete different demographic in Statesville, and we may have turned people on to skiing by renting.
Yeah.
So, you know.
So, like, if I wanted to come to your place and rent skis, how does that work?
You just, you come in, fill out some paperwork, get your height and weight, size, fit you for a boot, and get you, set up. $25 a day.
It's just $25 a day.
Yeah.
And then you return them. Don't worry, because that's something I'm never going to do. But just for people listening, they may want to know. Because that's something that people may not even really realize that you guys offer.
Right.
You know?
And we've kind of been light on promoting it. We did a little bit last year, but because we're a small family-owned business and I still sell insurance, I'm not there all the time, and I'm the only one that can really fit somebody for skis or snowboard. So it's kind of one of those things that I have to be there. It has to be either afternoon or on a Saturday. So, and that's when most people come and get them anyway. Not many people are coming, on Tuesday at lunchtime to get fitted for skis. But we've had people come in and on Tuesday or something and say, "Hey, I need to get skis Wednesday," and I'll just say, "Hey, come in at lunch. I'll fit you. Fill out the paperwork. I'll get them ready." And it's easy to do. I mean, anybody can have the paperwork filled out, and then when I get there at 5 after I leave the office, I can get them ready.
How did I want to go back to your name real quick. How did you do your branding? Did you guys come up with that, or did you?
We did, yeah. We just were. No, my wife wanted a maple tree because she's from Vermont.
Okay.
And so that was kind of where we started, and then my older brother, who does graphic design and he does some logo creation, like, why do you want a maple tree? You're not in Vermont. It's Roots Outdoor, and you're in North Carolina. You need a pine tree. And so, but okay, well let's pine tree. And so he sent us. We found one on an old hat from like the '80s, and I don't know where Amy found it, but it was just the tree she wanted. It was once we decided on that look.
Yeah.
And I had no idea. I mean, you never know when you create something. Like, it can look cool in your head, and then people look at it and it's like,
It's a lot of pressure when it comes to a logo. Yeah. If it's a podcast logo or if it's a company logo, if the logo looks like crap, but plus your logo is on your clothing, so you really need it to look cool.
Yeah, and one thing my brother told me when we were creating it is, he said, the simplest thing I can tell you about creating a logo is you want to be able to look at it from across the street and know that that's your logo. Like, you want somebody to just see your shirt and not be able to see the details of it, but be able to see that it's a Nike swoosh,
right?
Or that's the Roots Outdoor. That's a Roots Outdoor tree, or whatever. I mean, so that's.
I think it's awesome. I think you guys have a really cool logo.
Thank you.
I think it fits your store. I think it looks really cool down in the downtown. The whole store itself looks cool. Really, you walk in and you don't feel like you're in downtown Statesville.
We have a lot of people say that, and like I said, me and my wife's from Vermont, and I spent some time in Oregon and spent 4 years in Alaska. When we walked into that store, and I'd known Brett, and I've talked about this a lot. It's relationships is really what helped us become where we're at today, and we're still not where we need to be. But we wouldn't have been in that building. We wouldn't have had the brands we had if it wasn't for my wife, my mom, Doug at Ski and Tennis, and Brett, who owned the building. I mean, I met Brett probably 8 years ago at Sweet Things at Sabine's coffee shop when it was downtown.
Yeah.
When Cindy opened that, and we became buddies, and we kind of lost touch for a while because we both got busy. But when I was walking around with Mary, and me and Doug were walking around downtown looking at space, and nothing really like, this is it. Nothing was like exciting. And then Marin said, "You can always talk to Brett. Everybody's tried, but he won't lease it to anybody. It's been vacant for 12 years." And I text Brett. We had coffee. We had a couple beers over the course of about 3 months, and he finally agreed to do it and to lease it to us for 3 years. And after we saw the inside of the building, my wife's like, if we can't have that space, I don't want to do it. Like, that's how vital. And Doug even agreed. Doug said, "Yeah, like that.
that space will make your store. Like it's
for sure.
It's it's the atmosphere. I mean, we have a lot of music in there on Saturdays, and everybody that walks in is like, man, I feel like I'm in like Boulder. I feel like I'm in, I don't feel like I'm in Statesville.
No, it's funny because a friend of mine, Bo, we went and looked at that building 10 years ago.
Oh,
Alexander.
Yeah.
And we're like, how much does this thing cost? Let's go take a look at it. So we went and looked at it, and we immediately knew. I don't know what we would do with this, but I can tell you that we're not going to do it justice.
Yeah.
But what we were thinking and envisioning was something totally different. So you guys came along at the right time and did what that store needed. Because you bring out a lot of character in that store. Because there was like an elevator or something, like a pulley, something in the back that went up to the upper floor.
Yeah, and it's upstairs. They pulled it up. It's and it's a really cool. I mean, trying to figure out what we're going to do eventually with the upstairs, and to incorporate that into the design of whatever we decide to do up there, whether it's office or whatever. But it's such a cool old elevator. I mean, the building's such a cool building. I mean, the thing is built in 1881.
Wow.
And we didn't do much when it came to the upfit. I think we rented a floor scrubber from Home Depot for $50 a day and cleaned the floors, shop vacuumed them, and polyurethane them. That was it. We didn't see anything. We didn't scrape anything. We just cleaned them and polyurethane them. And people come in and are like, "Man, who did your floors?" And it cost us like $500 between the scrubber and the polyurethane and the rollers. And
I can remember when you guys had the paper up over the windows.
Yeah,
man, people were trying to peek through and see what was going on. There was a lot of, you guys created a nice little buzz about what's going in there. I mean, I can remember people saying it was going to turn into like this high-end men's shaving place where you could drink bourbon in the back, and I was like, maybe.
Yeah.
They're like, no, it's going to be a bar, because they had seen like some music starting. I don't know, but there was a lot of buzz created, so you guys did a good. I don't know if you intentionally did that, but good job.
Well, we did want people to talk and kind of speculate, and then once we signed the lease and decide, and it started to get out a little bit, and Brett really wanted us to keep it quiet the whole time. But I was like, dude, we've got a ton of inventory coming in. Like, I can't have people thinking that this is a shave club.
Right.
Like, I need people that want to buy Patagonia and North Face and Burton and that want to rent skis. I want them to know that this is a place to come October 1. Of course, October 1 was Beer Fest, and it was 89 degrees, and we had nothing but winter clothing. And luckily we had T-shirts, but I mean, if we hadn't had T-shirts and hats, like, it'd have been a bad day.
So you guys have been open over a year, right?
October 1 was our year mark.
Wow.
Yeah.
And have you guys looked at it with what you guys do, creating, I know it's early, but even maybe expanding into a second location in the future, or maybe even making this into a franchise situation?
Not now. I mean, right now, my whole plan, my mom retired. I just kind of take you back, but my mom retired about 4 years ago from insurance. And I don't think Mom ever put a whole lot of, never really thought about what she was going to do after. It was just never crossed her mind. I mean, I think she thought, she'd retire and just travel and do whatever. And she's got too many grandkids around here to just take off. And my stepdad still works, but watching her struggle to figure out what she wanted to do, what was next, kind of inspired me a little bit to start now.
Yeah. To
where I didn't need it to make money. I don't need it to pay my bills. Insurance is still, how we put food on our table. And yes, like I tell some people, some people have a hobby that, horses or, fantasy football,
right, whatever,
or gambling. Mine's investing in a ski shop and a clothing store that hopefully one day will be profitable, and my daughter will want to run. So it's like our plan is more of a 10, 15, 20-year plan.
Yeah.
And I think that's what's going to help us survive. And I've already had bigger stores come in and say, hey, if you ever want to get out of this, like, we like what you've created, and we like the space, and we'd be interested in talking to you about it. Yeah.
It's flattering, though.
It is. It is. I mean,
and it also lets you know that you're on the right path. You're doing something right.
Yeah, and I'm sure there's somebody that could have came in there and done it better than we could. No doubt in my mind. But we're doing it the way we want to do it, and it's. I mean, me and my wife moved out of our house that we'd lived in. I bought the house in 2011. We'd remodeled it and decided that we wanted to buy 4 acres, outside of town and build a new house. And so at the same time, we opened October 1, November 27th, we moved out of our house into a 30-foot camper with a 4-year-old and 3 dogs. Right?
What?
And we lived in it for 7 months. The first 7 months of our business being open, we lived in a 30-foot camper.
Dude, and she didn't divorce you.
She actually, in January, we found out she was pregnant.
The only thing that would make this story worse.
Yeah. No, she spent I have to give it to her. She was a trooper. I mean, to make it through that, and that, I told her, I was like, I do feel like God puts you through things and test you, and He doesn't give you anything you can't handle, and that whole situation is just proof of that. Because anybody I tell that story to, they were like, I was GCing the construction of my own house, which I'd never built a doghouse before. And so between that and insurance, and luckily my aunt, who's our agency owner, was super patient with me and didn't strangle me or fire me. And but because between building a house, living in a camper, starting the shop, and trying to still keep up with insurance.
Oh, and by the way, raise a family.
Yeah.
Which is huge.
Yeah, and I get home and I try to give, most nights I give my little girl a bath every night, and now we have a 5-month-old, but my 5-year-old, I've given her a bath and put her to bed every night since since she needed me.
Yeah.
So, but once she stopped breastfeeding, but I didn't do that.
You should have tried. Yeah. I mean, you've tried everything else.
I should have tried,
dude. I just, it's amazing what people can really do and put themselves through and come to the other side, kind of, I don't want to say smell like a rose, but you got through it, man, and you look back and you go, how did we do it? How did we get through that? But it also lets you know that you can get through anything. The other thing it does is it lets you know when people who have their plate is way less full than yours, like, I just don't have time.
Yeah.
Like, what do you mean you have time? Yeah.
No, and I feel bad. I mean, I used to say that, and when I was single, and man, I'm tired. I had buddies that had kids, or my brothers had kids, and I'm like, man, I'm go home. I'm tired. It's like I feel like
you were an asshole.
Yeah, exactly.
I did not. My cousin and his wife were at our house at Thanksgiving. They have a 10-year-old and a 6-year-old.
Yeah.
And before I ever got married, he lived with me for a little while, and then they rented a house a little ways down the road. And looking back on it now, I should have been way more of a better cousin and godfather to my godsons and now sons. But I should have looked at them and been like, this really sucks. Yeah. Like, y'all go to dinner.
Yeah, I got you.
I'll take care of the kid. Yeah. Here's like 100 diapers because you're going to go through those in 10 days,
Yeah.
But I just didn't.
No, you don't know.
You don't know.
And I think at that point you're in it. And there are some people. I've got a cousin, Sarah, that is, the sweetest thing in the world. And like, she's coming home she's at App, and she's like, once a week while I'm home, if you and Amy want to go out on a date night, I'll come over. I'll take care of the kids. I don't have a 21-year-old doing that.
No. Would 1-year-old you do that?
No. God.
No.
And my brothers, or nobody would want me watching their kids.
Right.
At that
That's
age.
fair.
So, yeah, no, they were just like, we don't even want you to be a godfather yet. Like, let's wait a couple of years and then we'll talk about it. So, but yeah, it's I don't know. You grow up and sometimes you realize how selfish you were, and you make up for it.
I know.
So,
growing up it's fun. It's a learning experience. You're always learning. I don't have this thing figured out yet either. People look at my wife and I, and they're like, so you have 3-year-old twins, you started a business, your husband does a podcast, you work full-time. Oh, yeah, by the way, he does work full-time too, at a whole different job and travels. How do you do it?
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like, Well, we just figure it out. You do it, and it takes a village. Luckily, we have family here that helps, which is a huge help.
And if you're not a team, if you and your spouse aren't a team, you're done. I mean, if you don't know that, sometimes you walk in the door and the dishes aren't done and the house is a wreck, and you can see on her face that she's just toast.
Yep.
She doesn't have to say anything. Usually she will, but she doesn't have to. And you're just like, okay, well, or I can pick up dinner on my way home.
Yeah.
I mean, tonight, that's what I did. I mean, she's been, like I said, our baby girl's 5 months old, and today she was at the shop most of the day by herself, and luckily my mom came to hang out with her. But to have a 5-year-old and a 5-month-old at a store while you're trying to help people and check people out, and still breastfeed and change diapers, and she was exhausted when she got home. And
being a mom is literally parents one, but like if you're a stay-at-home mom, that's like the hardest job on the planet.
Yeah, and she has been. I mean, and that's what she wanted to be. When we, when we met, we talked about. I was like, what do you want? And she wanted to be a teacher. And that's what she wanted to be, and she wanted to write a book. And but she's just like, I really I want to be a good mom. I want to be able to be a stay-at-home mom. I want to be able to raise my kids how I want to raise them, and she's a phenomenal mom. I mean,
so she is a stay-at-home mom.
Yeah. Well, she does a lot of. She does the purchasing, and the tagging. She does a lot of the behind-the-scenes stuff for the store.
Yeah.
So like everything that's in the store right now is 99% of it she picked out. She goes to the shows and checks out next year's stuff. And this year I did because she couldn't, but last year and spring, and she goes and she picks it all out. I just try to sell
Dude,
it.
if I was a stay-at-home parent, or if my wife was a stay-at-home parent, we would spend every dime that we make on therapy.
Yeah.
I mean, it is, God, I was home for a few weeks when they were born. Obviously, she took, maternity leave, but we are people who need to be active and work or whatever.
Right.
I love our kids. I couldn't even imagine not being a dad now.
Right.
Like, I don't, like, I would,
what
was I even doing beforehand?
What was so important? Yeah.
We were selfish.
Yeah.
Just selfish humans.
Well, I didn't have kids. I didn't have Ella until I was 35.
Yeah, I was 36.
So, and I hate to say, I don't feel bad because like my brothers had kids young, and their kids are gonna be done, and they're gonna be. But I was so much more ready to be a dad.
Mm-hmm.
If I would have had kids when I was younger, I still would have been ready. I still would have been a good dad. I had no doubt in my mind. I think that was just in me. I had good parents growing up. I had good coaches. I had good teachers, and that I think helped me a lot. And becoming like that caring, loving father type figure. I had a lot of those, but a lot of good examples. But I had everything out of my system. There was nothing that I felt like I missed out on. And I feel like I see a lot of, because a lot of Ella's friends' dads are, and even other young dads are like, I look at them and I'm just like, man, and I can tell some of them are just like, get out.
I just want to get out.
Yeah.
Well, I think, like if you'd had kids like 25-year-old Nick or 26-year-old Brandon are different men, human beings at 35 and 36 when we had kids.
Yeah.
Not that we like you said, I've still been a good dad. I hope, you would have been a good dad, but it's just different mentality, like getting through stuff, sweating the small stuff.
Yeah.
I would have definitely sweated a whole lot more stuff then than I do now.
Yeah.
Which is some things I have to remind myself to do is like, don't sweat the small stuff.
Yeah.
Which I was guilty of earlier before I got here.
Yeah.
I was sweating all the small stuff.
Yeah. No, that's one thing I've never, I guess that's probably just one of my, probably ADD, but I don't sweat I really don't sweat anything.
Yeah, you always seem, very even keeled.
Because if I did, it'd be, I'd be a mess. I'd be highly medicated, but I don't know. I don't know what it is because I guess it's like my upbringing and being a middle child, and like I don't know. I never worried about much. I just kind of was like, well, I remember when I moved back to Oregon, my friend called me and she's like, where are you at? And I was like, Utah. Like, I just talked to you yesterday. You were in Statesville. I was like, yeah. I decided to go back.
Damn.
And I packed my car and packed my dog, and we got in the car and took off and went back out to Oregon for a couple of years. And
yep, zero chance I would have ever done that or ever do that.
yeah, and Mom's just like, I mean, even my mom, like, I went to her office when that happened. She just, I came back here to try to grow up. And I was a, ski bum. I, taught kite surfing and taught skiing and snowboarding in Oregon. And I came back because I felt like I need to grow up. Like I think I was 26. Like it's time to grow up. I need to get a job and wear a collared shirt and some pleated pants and some penny loafers. I was like, that's what I need to do. It's the next step in life. And I came and I tried it and I was miserable. And my grandfather, I was staying with him over off of Radio Road, and he was like 90, and he came out and he's just like, "You don't need to be here."
Really, your 90-year-old grandpa
like,
looked at you and was like,
"Yeah." He's like, "You don't need to be here." And I was down and out. And I was just unhappy, and I went to my mom's office over on Brookdale, and she's just like, I walked in, she's like, "You're going back, aren't you?" Yeah, I think so. Like, good. Like,
it's good to have the support for that.
I mean, of course she cried. I mean, Mom cried her eyes out. Me and my mom are super close, and it was hard for her. It was hard for my grandfather. I mean, I think it was harder for my grandfather that I took my dog, because him and my pit bull were like best buddies. I mean, they were inseparable. But
that's cool.
But they both knew that I was just not. This was not where I needed to be, and so I went back out there for about 2 years and hung out and had fun and played and partied and made a lot of stupid decisions and
there you go,
broke a couple bones and
yeah, but you got all that out.
Yeah, and I came back, and when I finally got into insurance, I was still a little reckless, but when I finally moved back to Statesville, my grandfather told me one time, he's like, you're in this town, like you represent the carnies, and you can't walk around town looking like that. And I was like, okay.
Yeah, when someone like your grandfather says something like that to you, it holds a little more weight.
Yeah, I knew once I came back here to get into insurance, it was like I had to
buckle down.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, I couldn't go out, and I never did. I never went out in Statesville, like nightlife. I never like went and partied at Delaney's or I never partied anywhere in Statesville. I went if I made bad
if you
decisions.
were ever to make that choice, right? Not that you did,
but no, it was just never. Like you said, I got it out. I was done. I said I'm out bartended and lived that life. And
how long were you in the military?
4 years.
In what branch?
Air Force.
Air Force, and you were in? Did you say Alaska or Oregon?
Alaska. I got out of Alaska and I went and kicked. I was a place kicker for a small school in Oregon. I kicked football.
Really?
I kicked in high school and got arrogant and wanted to kick at a D1 school. And
well, why wouldn't you?
Yeah, and I didn't get offered, and my grades weren't the best, and so I tried Mitchell for about 2 weeks, and that didn't work out. And luckily, the Air Force recruiter called me and was like, "Hey, come talk to me." That was probably in April and in June. Gone.
And is that a decision that you look back on, like you made the right decision? Or I mean, do you have any regrets about joining?
No. I mean, I was. I definitely wasn't going down a good path. Not that I was like a bad kid.
Yeah.
But I could. I mean, it wasn't trending upwards.
Your stock was not rising.
No. I mean, and I knew. I mean, I was. Like I said, luckily I had good upbringing, good parents, good coaches and teachers that I knew that it was time for me to do something.
Mm-hmm.
And it was tough. I mean, leaving and like going into the Air Force was a tough decision because all through high school I'm going to go play sports in college. That's what I'm going to do. And whether it was soccer or kicking football or whatever, that's what I was going to go do. And I would skate through college just like I did high school, and it didn't happen.
Damn.
It didn't happen.
So what did you do in the Air Force?
I worked in classified email. So we encrypted messages, sat in a room, looked at a computer or all night, whatever shift I was working.
Damn. So y'all did the encrypting, or you decoded like encrypted shit?
Well, the computer did a lot of it, but there was certain things we had to do. It's been so long, I don't even remember half of what I did. But and there was also there was a foggy period called Oregon in between there, and then Wilmington after Oregon. So
oh wow, okay,
yeah, it was fun. I mean, living in Alaska was awesome. The people up there were awesome. Actually one of my good buddies that I met while I was up there. He was actually a native Alaskan, and he was in college at the University of Alaska at Fairbanks, and now he's got a king crab fishing boat, and I think he's in Ketchikan or I can't remember exactly where he's at, but he's got a big boat, and he sent me a message, and he was just like, "Man, remember when we were 18? It's hard to believe you're turning 40." And I mean, relationships like that. And I was telling my wife when I got home, I was like, "It's really cool to get messages like that from a guy I haven't seen since 2003."
Oh, absolutely.
And just to say, "Hey, man, like we had some good times. Like, glad to see you're doing good."
It's good that you made an impact, and that guy's made
yeah.
Even though you haven't seen each other, you guys could probably meet tomorrow,
right,
and pick right up where you left off.
Yeah, and Amy my wife gives me a hard time. She's just like, but she'll say, "Who's that?" It's like, "That's my good buddy Adam." It's like, everybody's your good buddy. Like, everybody can't be your good friend. I'm like,
sure they can.
Amy, they are though. I mean, if most of these guys, if I needed something or if they needed something, like they know I'd be there for them, and vice versa. And I think some people you just have that with, and that guy's one of them. I mean, he's one of the kids I coached at American Renaissance 8 years ago. I hadn't seen him years. He just joined the Air Force and rolls into the shop on Saturday just to come say hey.
That's cool.
And he's doing great, and it's good to see that. It's good to see some kids that were little brats when they were in middle school that turned out to be pretty good kids and serving the country and keeping us all safe.
Letting us sit at home.
Do this.
Yeah,
right. Sit here and talk about whatever.
Exactly.
And whoever's listening.
And to whoever's, that's right. Thank all 7 of you. We appreciate it.
Yeah. 7?
Maybe. I think we're growing.
Jeez.
That's right. So we're going to get a lot of people coming into Root saying they heard it.
All right. We'll be ready. And close tomorrow.
Insurance. Right. Close tomorrow. Yeah. Come this weekend. And you just did a Small Business Saturday.
Yes.
Yeah?
Yeah.
How was that?
Awesome. I mean, the support of Statesville, not just Statesville, but the support of the county. And there's a lot of people in Statesville that have been supportive, but the surprise that we've gotten has been from the northern part of the county, which, opening up a business in downtown Statesville, you really think your biggest supporters are going to be people in downtown Statesville. And it's been, I mean, I've created so many friendships and so many customers that we've gotten from the northern part of the county, from Union Grove, from Harmony, from Olin, they're in every other week.
That's a pleasant surprise.
And they share everything on social media. And even Troutman, and we have a lot from Troutman as well. But I feel like the people in North Iredell understand shop local, and locally owned, family owned businesses as much as anybody can. Because they've lived it. Most of them have lived it their entire life, whether they're a dairy farmer or Brian and Amy Howard or Erica Goodnight, who is taking over her family business that her dad built, and there's just so many of those guys from North Iredell that are so loyal to us, and they can buy it anywhere. You can buy what we have online, and you can probably buy it cheaper.
Right.
So the fact that they come in and support us, and most of them, even if I've had some of them that were having a sale, and they're like, "Dude, no." Or I've had we give a first responder discount to any first responder.
Yep.
And veteran. We have a 10% discount year round. And I have some of those guys, veterans and first responders, that are, dude, we don't need a 10%. Like, we want you to be here.
That's cool.
And when that happens, it's
supportive.
Like, wow. But then there's some people that come in and are like, dude, remember me? Like 40%. You hooked me up. Remember I helped you out? And no. I don't remember.
And no. Even if I did remember.
Yeah. So it's, and people that want to see you make it they don't ask for it. And I love giving. I mean, we just started carrying Black Rifle coffee, and a guy in Salisbury that owns a store in Salisbury, an awesome store. They carry like Traeger grills, similar to what they carry paddle boards. Some of the stuff we do,
But he's like, listen, man, you need to carry Black Rifle. It creates a lot of traffic and not a lot of money in it, but like people come in to get it. And just do this. Take a bag every month to the police department and to the fire department, and those guys will they'll be in here every month to get their coffee, to buy a pair of pants, to buy gloves or socks or whatever. And so we just started doing that, and I've already had several guys that have come in from the fire department,
or
the police department that throw our sticker on the bag of coffee and send it to them or drop it off.
It's funny you mention that because literally, you guys just started carrying it, right?
Just started carrying it about a month ago,
right?
Less than a month ago.
I saw your post about it on social media because I've always wanted to try it.
Yeah.
And I don't know where to get it because you can't just go to Walmart and pick it up. No. So literally after I saw you, last week?
Yeah.
When you left, I had to leave too. I went right down to your store. I bought Black Rifle coffee and took it to the house. And because I just left the coffee shop, by the way. Yeah. Bought that coffee, went home and made a cup. Yeah. And it is good.
Yeah. And me and Andy talked because he came in the other day and he was just like, "Oh, you're selling Black Rifle coffee?" And I'm like, "Yeah. Andy, I buy coffee at your store almost every day." And as I said, don't make me feel guilty for carrying this. And I told him, I was like, it's a traffic thing. I've got to get people in the door.
Yeah.
And they're not coming in the door to buy Sky Mountain coffee when they can buy it a block down the road.
Right.
I mean, it's not. It doesn't make any sense. But there's, Black Rifle Coffee has over 1 million followers. And
not to mention you're a veteran as well. Yeah. So there's a deeper link there than just coffee.
Yeah, and we try not to get into any conversation about politics, and sometimes because we carry Black Rifle, it kind of takes that direction with some people, and but my wife's from Vermont. Some of my best friends are Republicans. Some of my best friends are Democrats, and very So it's like I love everybody, and I think if everybody just listened, and one of the things I heard on we watched Stephen Furtick, watch Elevation, and there's a radio host that's from Monk's Corner that he had on one time. And I can't. He's huge, new radio. Anyway, one of the things he said was that we're as a society we're really bad at is we listen to respond and not to understand.
Correct.
And that's one thing. Since I heard that, I've tried to work on because I'm so guilty of. You say something that spurs something in my head, and if I don't keep thinking about it, I'm gonna forget it. So I quit listening to you.
Yep.
I check. You're checked out. You could tell me that my hair is turning green and bugs are crawling out of my ear, and I wouldn't hear it because I'm ready to respond to that thing you said.
Yep.
And that's
always.
Yeah, and I've tried to get a lot better at that because people want to know that you, especially in insurance and even at our store. I mean, I think our store is we're partnered with Skiers and Snowboarders for Christ, and mainly because I'm part of that dark, cynical, rebellious culture in Oregon and Alaska that kind of lived on the edge and pushed the limits and made bad decisions. And if I can prevent some kid from doing it, because not everybody's going to be as lucky as I was.
Sure.
And I mean, I just broke a tailbone and a nose. But
right.
A lot of people end up a lot worse because of doing something stupid and getting a little too, daring on the mountain, and you end up in the hospital, and or worse, you end up in the hospital because of something you put in your mouth.
Right.
And so we've tried to be a place where people can come talk to, and if kids come in and talk to us about skiing or snowboarding, to introduce them to Skiers for Christ or to talk about it. And just, the guys that started Skiers for Christ that kind of helped spearhead it. One of the guys said, kind of funny when he said it, and he was just like, he said, the first time I experienced the Holy Spirit, I had to I had to think for a second because I wasn't high and I wasn't drunk, and I was just like, what was that? And he's like, and my host family was like, that was the Holy Spirit coming over you. That's what that was. And that was so weird because I never experienced a feeling like that without drugs or alcohol. So And I don't know how I spiraled down that direction, but that's we want to be that place where people can come and talk to. People can come and just share, and I think it was listening. Yeah.
Well, I think I can't remember the phrase that the guy said, but he's exactly right. When some people are talking, a lot of people are already wanting to. They're not having a conversation. They're actually in a debate. The other person doesn't know it because this guy's over here trying to. He's already getting his response to prove you wrong.
Yeah.
Or to outdo what you're saying.
One up you. Yeah.
Always trying to one up.
Yeah.
And if people would just listen and have a conversation, which is one of the real reasons why I do the show.
Yeah.
It's nice to have people come on here and learn about stuff, but we just dove deeper into you and learned more about Roots Outdoor and what you guys offered that I did not know before.
Yeah.
And maybe other people out there didn't know either. And the story about how that come to fruition from you personally.
Yeah.
Because if you didn't have some of these things and experiences living on, the edge, that would not be something that you're offering and providing today. A resource to people.
Right. And I don't think anything's an accident. I think everything you go through, if you don't use it to help somebody else, if you don't use it to prevent somebody else from making the same mistake. And we all grew up and our parents tried to say, hey, don't do that.
Right.
We know what's going to happen. I do it with my 5-year-old now. But you push the limits but if that, there was a lot of voices in my head when I got ready to do really stupid things, whether it was coaches or teachers or my parents. And some of those voices were the reason that I didn't do insanely stupid. I did stupid things.
Right.
But like the things that would have probably sent me to the hospital or gotten me in a lot of trouble.
Mm-hmm.
I said, well, wait.
Pat the brakes.
I'm gonna throw my white flag in here and be done, tap out. But if I can be that voice for some kid at some point down the road that says, "And I remember Nick talked to me about this," or I remember that, and whether it was a conversation, whether it was a story I told them about me, or whatever, and I haven't experienced everything. I've listened to a lot of people, and I've had grown men come in our store and just bust out crying because of something they're going through in their family, and they don't know me, but for some reason he felt comfortable in that moment cry to me, and I don't know why, but we sat and talked and told him what I thought, which was my belief. There's a guy in downtown. He's really big into the theater in downtown, and I actually just saw him and took my daughter to the Little Mermaid. But I kept seeing him on social media, and he'd come into the store with an LGBT rainbow shirt, and I was just like, see him on social media, and I'm like, God, he's married, he's got what? Confused. Like my brain, like I want to label him, but I can't. I can't because it's like, are you married or? And so I just asked him. I point blank asked him when they came in to buy some shoes, and we had created a pretty good rapport, and I'd helped him with some clothing and some stuff because he'd just started working out and lost a lot of weight and wanted to need some new stuff. And I just like asked him. I said, I gotta ask you. I said, I see you always have LGBTQ shirt on. And I also see your Facebook page and you're married with 2 kids. I was like, I want to know your passion because you've got some passion for that community, and I'm curious because anybody that's that passionate enough to wear that around, risking what somebody might say or do or insult you or whatever, like I'm just curious because you're here to be part of it,
right? And
they told me that I've had some friends that have experienced negative things, and he told me that he used to be a Christian. He's not anymore, and we've had a long conversation about it. And I told him I was a Christian, and he's like, "How do you feel about it?" And I said, "Well, I feel like sin's a sin,
mm-hmm.
But their sin's no different than my sin, and just because they're sinning doesn't mean they can't get into heaven. And because you're part of a group that known for sexual sin, in my book, doesn't mean you can't get into heaven." And he was just like, "Man, I love that. Like, I love your loving, accepting outlook on LGBTQ." And I've got tons of friends, lesbian or gay, and like they know I love them.
Yeah, sure.
And
don't you think as a society, and that's great that you actually have the courage, number one, to ask that.
Yeah.
Number two, he had the courage to say it, and he has the courage to put that out there, on his shirt, and he's walking around, because anybody could label him as, he's struggling internally with something of himself.
Yeah.
He's married, maybe he's in the closet, maybe he's trying to come out or whatever, and whatever. Who cares? None of my business. Right. But at the end of the day, I think, do you not feel like we as human beings, regardless, we're people are always going to label and people are always going to judge, but I feel like we're making more of a shift, and maybe it's not as fast as people want, and maybe it's faster than some people want.
Yeah.
But really, being gay or LGBTQ, whatever the PC term is more acceptable today, right now, than it was 10 years ago, and 20 years ago. And it's going to be even different 10 years from now.
Yeah, and I think you're always going to have, no matter what you do, whether you like Duke Blue Devils or whether you're LGBTQ, like you're always going to get, there's going to be some ridicule. There's going to be some jerk or, punk that wants to make you feel uncomfortable.
Oh, absolutely.
Or make you feel bad. And it doesn't matter what you do. And that, you just have to brush those people off. And
right.
Like I told that guy that came in and cried, I was like, dude, like your job is not to judge her. Your job is to love her, and that's all you got to do.
That's it.
And she's your daughter, and just love her. That's it. Like that's what she needs right now. She needs to see that you're right. Like you're right. And same thing with Lauren. I mean, for him to say, he probably wouldn't care. 7 people are listening. But anyway, for him to say, he's just like, man, I like the your approach to that is refreshing. It's you, like I can tell you truly care about people.
Yeah.
Whether they're like you or not like you, your blood's red, and there's a ton of people that do a lot of bad things that believe in Christ and
absolutely
that will eventually go to heaven. And we're all going to answer for what we've done here. And I've always been I'm not, my wife sometimes is like, you got to be careful. I'm like, no, I mean, my belief is a sin, and I'm not going to not share that because it might offend somebody. I'm not doing it to be ugly. I'm not doing it to judge or be rude. And I think judge has been turned into such a bad word. And,
absolutely.
I mean, we're all judged.
Oh,
if I don't sell enough insurance, I'm judged.
Right.
If I don't sell enough Patagonia stuff, Patagonia is going to judge me and say, "Hey, we don't want you carrying our brand anymore."
Well, I mean, I had to let you know that you're going to show up to the flea market. It's going to be dark, and no one's going to take your kidneys.
Right.
Otherwise, you're going to put me like judge.
I wonder why this guy is cleaning stuff back here.
Why is that tub full of ice?
Yeah.
Just wondering.
But whatever. I've never been in this building. It's kind of.
But
turn the lights on and go shopping when we leave.
Well, we might have to. Honor system. But I think it gives back to me and a friend of mine have a conversation all the time, Kevin, about how there is a evil forcing drive, and it's called the media, and it loves for people to be divided. Yeah. They do not want us to come together. They do not want us to get along or to agree or to sit down and go, you know what? You are on this side of the aisle. I'm on this side of the aisle. How about we have a cup of coffee or a beer or sit down and just chat about it? Now, I don't expect you to change your view. You don't expect me to change my view, but I may be able to see what you're saying. I may be able to understand a bit more. And maybe you might understand where I'm coming from different, which is another huge premise of why I do the show.
Yeah.
To have these difficult conversations and for people to go, you know what? It is okay.
Yeah.
So what? You voted for Donald Trump or whatnot. Right. You can still come to Christmas, brother. Know, right? Because that was, I knew people who were not invited to family Thanksgiving because of how they voted.
Yeah,
and that is,
and you shouldn't.
It's obscene.
Yeah, and you shouldn't be scared to say I voted for Obama or I voted for Trump. You should be able to say, you know what, I did. This is why, or not even have to explain why.
Right. You shouldn't even have to.
Yeah.
You shouldn't have to, I voted this way. Oh, but now let me defend why I did that. And so hopefully understand that it's okay.
Yeah.
I mean, look, you know, people are going to be giving you shit over anything, you know, because you're a Duke fan.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
You know, you can't come to Christmas.
Yeah.
Right? So,
All the time.
Right. So people need to get over it.
Yeah.
You know, at the end of the day, we're all human beings. And
those little things are such a small part. Like, I mean, it's our differences are such a small thing, really. I mean, it's like I got to talk to some guy the other day about, you know, saving the planet, and they were talking about they're starting to change. They're changing the formula for the wax that goes on snowboards because the wax is getting into the snow, and it's getting into the water, and it's polluting.
That's the biggest concern.
And I just like that's not a like we all want to. Nobody wants to like burn the planet. Nobody wants to like pollute the planet. Nobody's going out there. I think there are some people that just don't think about it. That, you know, will just throw their cigarette butt wherever they want to,
That's right.
or, you know, throw a can out the window and not care. But for the most part, everybody like generally doesn't want to ruin the planet.
No, I think, and I hate to say the term bought in, but I think in 2019, even if you don't believe in global warming or climate change, you still believe in recycling.
Yeah, most people recycle. I think.
Right.
I mean,
or throw their trash away and don't leave it there or whatnot. I would say my opinion, is the overwhelming majority does the right thing.
Right.
Not everybody, and not everybody's always going to do the right thing. So yeah, but it's interesting how people go or how they look at things. Like, for example, you know, in California, you can't use the plastic drinking straw.
Right.
Totally banned. However, you can totally have, you know, a needle park that uses plastic syringes to do drugs.
Yeah.
I'm
Priorities.
confused.
Priorities.
I'm totally confused.
Yeah.
And then leave them on the side of the road or in the park.
Well,
you know.
I don't even know enough about why they banned straws. If it was to save the seagulls, or
it's something to do with the wildlife in the ocean, which I totally get. And by the way, if you ever have used one of those like paper straws, they're terrible.
Yeah,
you can't even get through a full drink. I mean, like, why are we doing this? You know. But I mean, I get it, but I feel like maybe there's some different angle that would have a greater impact.
Right. Yeah. Not straws.
Not the straws.
Yeah.
Maybe not this go round.
Yeah.
Maybe next time.
Yeah. Maybe in a couple of years.
Yeah. I don't know.
But let's fix the needles first.
Let's fix those needles. Yeah. Because those are actually killing people.
Make them out of paper.
Hey.
And see how they work.
There you go. Yeah. Let's see how. Yeah. There you go. I like that.
Yeah.
You should talk to some people.
Yeah. Probably not. Probably not. Nobody in California wants to hear what I have to say.
I don't know, man. You could tell me you got Oregon roots. I'm like, all right,
yeah.
There you go. And Vermont.
Yeah, Vermont.
So, there you go. Boom.
Old Bernie Sanders.
You're in.
Yeah.
I think you could even run for office.
Yeah, and you know, we try not to have political conversations, but I have them a lot with different people, and I like to ask all kinds of people different things. I mean, Andy, at the coffee shop. I mean, there's people that I know are that's very passionate Republicans and very passionate Democrats, and I just like to talk, start a conversation, like, how do you feel about this, and just see where it goes, and you know, sometimes put my input in, but most of the time just sit there and listen. But
it's awesome.
We got into a conversation about free education and free healthcare, and you know, being a veteran, like I was in basic with guys that were 35 years old that had 4 kids that lost their job. Their wife got in a car accident, and they didn't have a choice. Like, they could have sat there and cried, "Why me?" and government give me everything. But he joined the Air Force and got an income, a retirement, health care, child care, housing, dental. He got everything. I mean, he got everything.
Yep.
And he didn't have to beg for it. He just had to go volunteer.
And
say, hey, you know what? It's awesome that our country has an option that I can go get free housing, free education, free healthcare, and all I gotta do is go in here and serve my country, and maybe learn a trade, or learn to be a police officer, or learn to be a computer programmer, or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And you get to pick. You know, it's not like the B movie where they just say you're gonna do this,
right?
And this is what you're gonna do for the rest of your life, and
that's what makes us great. Another reason that makes us great. Another feather in the cap.
I don't know. I mean, that's to me that whole the free education, free healthcare thing that's my solution to that. If I don't mind paying for, I'd love to pay less for health insurance, but I don't mind paying for it. I mean,
right.
I work hard to make the money I make, and I've got to pay a little bit more to make sure my family gets the care they need when they need it. Then it's my job to keep it's me and my wife's job to keep our kids healthy, to put the right food in their body, to make sure they're not sick, and make sure they grow up healthy, to keep them home from school if they're sick. And it's our job to do that, and I don't need somebody to give me free health care to make it easier on me.
Well, it sounds good in theory. Being someone who worked in the emergency department for almost 8 years and saw the abuse that goes on, the emergency department is there for an emergency. That's the first word, emergency. Right. When you see people taking a $400 ambulance ride, and I don't mean every now and then, not even that, a toothache, or they have a sore throat, or they have a headache. Now, granted, is that headache an aneurysm? Are they having a stroke? Okay, fine. But when it's repeated, and they know they can get there because of the ambulance, because they don't have a ride, or you come into the emergency department. Now, again, I've not worked there in 10 years, but they would come in and say, "Hey, we're going to have a 6-hour wait." You could go down here to urgent care.
Right.
Literally, their response back was, "Yeah, but I have to pay them up front."
Yeah.
So they're not going to pay $75. They're going to come in here for $150 and do whatever it is, the complaint would be, because they don't have to pay the bill.
Right.
But what people don't understand is that is causing insurance to rise. Yeah. And plus with the Medicare fraud and Medicaid, I mean, it's just, there's a lot of fraudulent stuff that goes on. However, what I was saying is it sounds good in theory, right? Yeah, let's give it to them. It's free. All right, cool. So it's free now. Are we going to build any more hospitals for everyone now to come in?
Yeah.
No. Okay. Yeah. How many more doctors are going to be thrown into the pool? Because now we're going to throw 30 million people into the pool.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Sounds good. In theory and morally sounds great. How many more doctors are there going to be? Okay, 0. How many more nurses are there going to be? How many more CT techs? How many more CNAs?
And there's going to be more ambulance drivers. In my opinion, there's going to be less.
Of course there's going to be less.
Because they're going to say, you know what? The majority of, without looking at statistics, I would probably say the majority of malpractice lawsuits are filed by middle to low income. And I could be dead wrong. I may be wrong about that. You might know.
Well, I don't know the answer, but I'm currently in the beginning stages of talking to a couple good friends of mine who are doctors, and coming on and pretty much having a no holds barred kind of discussion about their side of medicine, what they see, and stuff like this. And I would say that more than likely, one would assume, just guessing, that your theory is probably more accurate. It's probably the way that it is.
I think between that and between the people that are going to the ER for a toothache and all that stuff adds up to, and then you add on, the McDonald's and sweet tea and diabetes and all that comes from America's unhealthy eating habits. And I mean, my wife is super healthy, and I've learned so much. I would probably be like 30 pounds heavier and a diabetic if it wasn't for her, because I mean, she's helped me realize a lot of things that weren't good for me. Mm-hmm. and I've cut out a lot of things that have and I have to, because I'm 40.
Yeah.
And I've got a 5-month-old. Yeah. And so it's, but I think all those things have attributed to the healthcare, the rising cost of healthcare.
100% for sure.
And I don't think it's doctors charging more because they want to make more money. I think it's doctors charging more because they have to charge more, because they have to pay more. It's just like, I talked to a lady that has a tree service, and she was just like, people always ask us why it costs so much to cut a tree down. She said, "What? Our insurance is insane."
Oh yeah, God.
And so we have to make sure that we can cover our cost to do business, which insurance is part of that. And
absolutely.
And that's, for the doctors, that's part of doing business.
Well, yeah, they have to pay their malpractice, and if they're in a specialty, because think about this. Let's say you're in a specialty. You come out of school. You went to undergraduate. You went to medical school. You did your residency. Yeah. You're 32 years old, probably somewhere in that neighborhood, and now you're $200,000 in debt. Okay. Yep. Now you're either going to go join a practice, okay, where you're going to have to pay to buy in, or you're going to go try to start a solo practice. All right. Now you're going to have to buy a building. Now it's 250 grand. And I got to get some employees. So now you're basically $500,000 in debt
before you
even hit the road.
Yeah.
Yeah. So really, they don't start making money until their early 40s. Now, again, it's good money. So they got that 20-year window of earning potential, and they make good money. But they also work their ass off from 18 to 42.
Yeah.
Right? So that's a lot of work.
Non-stop. Yeah.
Right. A lot of missed holidays.
Yeah.
Sleepless nights.
Oh, yeah. That's
back then, residency, you're up 24 hours. I don't think they do that anymore. But no, being a doctor.
It's a big commitment. I mean,
it's a big commitment.
And you lose a lot of, I mean, that I got into insurance because my mom and my stepdad were both in insurance, and they didn't miss a ball game.
Yeah.
They didn't miss. I mean, I played every sport there was, and they were at every ball game because it could be. And I had this conversation with my aunt the other day, and she's like, sometimes I don't feel like you love what you do. And I said, I was like, I don't know many people that like when they turned 18, they were just like, you didn't. You wanted to be a nurse and a vet. Jay didn't. Jay wanted to be he went to school to be a recreation management, do what Griggs is doing.
Yeah.
That's what he wanted to do. And I don't know what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
I wanted to kick footballs and ski and snowboard and be reckless. That's what I wanted to do. But nobody at 18 said I just wanted to do insurance because I just want to help people. If you want to help people, there's a ton of CNA jobs.
Yep.
A ton of teaching jobs. If helping people was the primary source of your motivation to get into insurance, there's a ton of other things you could do that help people. And it's like, so I sell insurance because I wanted to be at every ball game for my kid when it came that time. I wanted to have the flexibility and the earning potential, the uncapped earning potential that insurance can provide. And no, I mean, I don't go to bed dreaming about insurance, and I don't wake up every day just like, wait to get.
I cannot.
I just don't. And I love my customers, and I love the relationships that I've built over the years with my customers. And I love when they call me and I can do something to help them. I sold them something that ended up being very beneficial to them. I do enjoy knowing that I did something that was helpful, or I encouraged them to do something that they weren't going to do that ended up being a good decision. And I sold Aflac for 12 years, and that was something that you saw on a monthly basis, the benefit, because you had somebody diagnosed with cancer or getting in a car accident or being disabled. So that was something that was a very regular claim that you saw doing voluntary insurance like Aflac. But no, helping people was just kind of a bonus to making good money and having a flexible schedule.
Yeah, being flexible is huge.
Yeah.
You really can't put a price on that. When I worked at the hospital, it was, this is your days.
Yeah.
This is the time, and that's it.
And
luckily with my where I work now, there's flexibility. If I want to work from home a day, I can. If I have to take the kid to school, or I'm sorry, to the doctor, I can do that. My boss is super cool, and they also know I'm going to get my stuff done.
Yeah.
I'm responsible. It's not like I'm out here, drinking beer and
talking on the
radio
yeah.
during working hours. But no, so you can't really put a price tag on flexibility if you have a job that allows you to do it, man. Yeah. And you can be there for your family. And
I would never. I mean, there's no to your point about the commitment of what a physician goes through. I would never do it because I would never want to look back and say, and I missed year 1 through year 8, but now they're 9, and I could make up for it the next 9 years. But I don't like missing a day.
Right, it's hard.
I mean, since Everly was born, our 5-month-old, I'm not, because of everything we have going on. There was a couple nights where she was in bed before I got home, and she was still asleep when I left for work, once or twice, and that sucked.
Mm-hmm.
And I come home the next night and I'm like, dang, I hadn't seen you in a day.
Yep.
I can't imagine the people that experience that. This is normal.
Oh yeah, for sure. With my job, I have to travel. You know, so I may be out of town for 2 or 3 days. Luckily, it's been really light this year, but I mean, it would be nothing for me to spend 50, 70 nights away from home.
Yeah,
for the year.
It's tough.
50 probably more accurate. But it just depends, you know. And this year's been slow, and I'm not for my travel part.
Right.
I'm not upset about it because I get to be home. You know, I get to put the kids to bed at night, except for when I'm here doing the show.
Yeah.
You know, but we're eating dinner. I'm giving them kisses. We're hanging out.
Right.
They're jumping on me. You know, I'm trying to find this magic key that's in the truck. I have no idea where she put that thing. It's like, where is this key? But it's good to be there and be just, you know, engaged, involved.
Yeah.
Around. It's important for them, just as it is so for us.
Yeah. Well, when I found out, you know, when we found out we were having Ellen, I knew I was going to be a dad to a little girl, and my Uncle Rick, one of the things he told me, he was like, any advice, like, you had a daughter, like, tell me something. Is there a book I can read? Is there something? And he gave me a book to read, but he also told me, he said, you know, you're like, how you treat Amy and how you treat her, like, that's what she's going to look for when she gets older. Like, you're setting the standard for every man in her life from here on. That really stuck with me, and I, anytime that like, it definitely checks me when I need to be checked. That you know, that statement that he made to me, and because I don't ever, I told Amy, I was like, I don't ever want her to be a daddy's girl because she's seeking daddy's attention.
Right.
Like, I want her to be a daddy's girl because she knows her dad adores her and gives her every bit of attention that he can.
Yep.
And I see so many daddy's girls, and even growing up, like, girls I grew up with that were daddy's girls, like, most of them were that way because their dad just didn't take the time, and they just wanted dad.
Yep.
And I think that wasn't going to happen.
We don't want to raise, because, you know, I have a boy and a girl.
Yeah.
Do not want to raise a daughter that has daddy issues.
No.
That is like one of my biggest fears.
Yeah.
You know.
Oh yeah.
Because we all know chicks who are like that.
Yeah.
And they are
a mess.
They are no bueno.
No.
Hopefully
they have paper straws by then, or papers. But no, it's but it's fun. I like being a dad is being a dad and being a husband. Probably the two of the cooler things I've gotten to do.
I would agree.
So every day's different.
Every day is different,
and
it doesn't feel like it sometimes, but it is different.
Yeah.
For you know, it's like,
oh yeah,
why? It's crazy what the little kids get caught up in.
Yeah.
You know, like, we were eating dinner earlier, and there was a wrap or something, and my little girl we were pulling, you know.
Yeah.
And then my son's like, I pull. So now we're pulling. Now she's crying because he's pulling it with me. I have to take it from him so we can pull. Now he's crying because I'm pulling it with her. I'm like, guys, this is a piece of trash.
Yeah.
Like, literally a piece of trash.
You can get more.
We can get more. Yeah. I mean, you know, we can, you mean, throw up in the air? Like, this is a piece of trash. Like, it's not that. But, you know. Little things, man.
Yeah.
Real quick, we'll wrap this thing up because I know you got to go back to the shop and wax some skis or something.
Tune some skis.
Wax,
sharpen edges, smooth out the bottom. Duke is playing at 9:30. Oh well.
You can put it on.
No, we're good.
You're good.
My mom texts me, and my wife has texted me.
So, how can people find you downtown Statesville? What's the address to your store?
201 West Broad. We're right across from the old post office on the corner.
201 West Broad Street.
Coke mural. We're in the building with the Coke mural. It was kind of cool thing they did.
And how can they find you on social media?
Roots Outdoor NC. Just search Roots Outdoor. There's a Canadian Roots Outdoor supposedly that's huge outdoor store, which I don't think they're Roots Outdoor. I think they're just Roots.
Yep.
Yeah, because you were asking me about that or something.
Yep.
But I've had several people ask me, "Are you guys like Roots Canada?" I'm like,
"No,
we're not Canadian." But
no, we're not, eh?
And I think they have a badger or a beaver as their logo or something. It's really,
I hate to
really
break
odd.
it to them, but it's not as cool as your logo.
Yeah, they should have called us.
No, be glad that it makes you stand apart.
Yeah. So it's we're Roots Outdoor NC. We're on Instagram. We're on Facebook. Me and my wife manage both pages, and we're very new at social media, so we're trying to figure it out. Luckily, we got some young kids that work for us that kind of help us try to be cool.
Right.
But we're definitely not as cool as used to be, especially when it comes to social media.
That's okay.
Sometimes that's cool.
No, it absolutely is cool. Yeah, for sure.
Even my 5-year-old makes fun of me sometimes at stuff I say and pictures I post.
Yeah, but here's the thing, though. When your kids get old enough, like because of your background, how you lived for a while, they're not getting away with anything.
No.
Nope.
I don't know. I feel like the trouble now is so we could end up on a whole different conversation on that, but the trouble now is so different than it used to be. I feel old saying that, but it's
the trouble that we got into at the time was bad.
Yeah.
But what happens today is what we were doing is way more innocent. To a way of what's going on now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
What happens now is just like
But your parents probably said the same thing about what you were doing.
Oh, yeah.
Reflecting back.
Oh, I'm sure. Probably. I don't know. I think my mom and dad were pretty innocent, pretty like trouble free. I think my stepdad was a little bit of a rebel, so he was the one that was like, "You're not fooling me."
Yeah, exactly. You're gonna
Mom
have
was
that.
like, "You're an angel."
That's what moms are for.
That's right. So,
well, real quick about the mural. How did you guys have the fortunate opportunity of having that painted on your building on the side?
I don't know the whole story behind it, but it used to be, and you could see it before, but it was real faint. They call it a ghost mural. So it used to be there, and for whatever reason, the guy didn't like, it was a Cheerwine or a Pepsi fan, but they painted over it. So Coke's did this they've been doing this whole thing. The girl that actually painted it, her grandfather used to paint all the Coke murals all over, and she decided that she wanted to learn her grandfather's old trade. Mm-hmm. So he taught her, and she started revitalizing these Coke murals all over the country, especially the Southeast. But I mean, she's been doing them everywhere. So
good for her.
Yeah, really.
And
cool.
What a great, convenient thing that they did that for you, because that does. Yeah. Everybody knows the mural.
It's easy to say where we're at,
and anybody who's coming in, touristy wise.
Oh yeah.
They're going to see that and they're going to stop in your store too.
Well, and that's the other thing is I think Statesville's slowly, and we were talking about it before we got on air, but Statesville's really starting to, I don't know, like have some substance. Not that the stores that were there before didn't, but I think like the people that come in and shop for the clothing and the gear that we have, like they want to come in and have a bunch of different options. I learned that with the skis and the snowboards. We carried one brand of skis and one brand of snowboards, and people didn't come in to buy them because they wanted to be able to see 4 or 5 different brands, or at least 3. So I think downtown Statesville is, and people are starting to learn. I mean, I have people come in and are like, "Oh, you guys actually have a lot of stuff in here." Yeah, we're kind of a clothing store. That's what that was our plan. But I get it, because I was guilty of that. Something opened in Statesville, and they were like, "Oh, did you hear the new place that opened downtown or in Statesville?" And I'm like, "Yeah, not REI,
right?
It's not ski country. It's not it's probably not worth going into. It's probably not worth me walking down there." And I mean, we have people that I saw 2 guys at Broad Street the other night, and they were. And one of them had Patagonia jacket on. One of them had a pair of cool pants, and I notice those things now that what am I going to do in by our store? And I want to go up and say, here's my card. Here's our store. We got these brands.
Come on down.
Get down here. And I still think there's a lot of people. Which we just did that mailer with Marin Tomlin and Cindy Sutton. But we all put together a trifold mailer that went out to I think 10,000 homes, which hopefully will help people to realize that there are things in downtowns. People still comment on social media that there's nothing to do downtown. Downtown is packed every week.
Yeah.
Friday, I mean, there's live music downtown Thursday, Friday, Saturday night.
Yep. They're not coming.
No, they're I don't know. I don't know where they're going, but they're not coming downtown, because if you came downtown in the last 2 years, you have gradually seen an increase of traffic and increase of business. And we have people coming from all over, not just North Iredell, but Mooresville, Moxville, Davidson, Huntersville. But we've got people coming in from all over. So we
did a quick little charity thing for a friend of mine's Operation Oligo Cure, and one of the docs came up. He lives in Davidson, and he said he'd never really been to downtown Statesville.
Yeah.
But he was like, he fell in love with it. He fell in love with the cigar shop. He loved the back part of it. And he was like, I've been to a lot of cigar shops throughout the world. And he was like, this is a good one.
Yeah.
And he was like, your town is really coming along. He was like, this is not what I expected.
Right.
He had a certain perceptive of Statesville.
Yeah.
And then he got here and he's like, this is really nice. Like, you guys have restaurants and a couple breweries and clothing and
coffee. And
he was like, this is not what I was expecting.
No. I mean, I've got same thing. I've got two friends that one of them has a couple. They own a clothing store in Davidson, and they came through and they were, what happened? Like, this is insane. We went over and got lobster rolls and had a beer at Fourth Creek, and it was people everywhere. And what happened to Statesville?
I know.
And like overnight, it was like bam. But I know me and Fourth Creek and Joe and Sky Mountain, like we all opened. There was another couple other places. We all opened within a month or two of each other, and it was just like those, the 4 or 5 businesses, and now the Statesville Ceuticals, which is, I mean, Matt and his wife are doing, I think, an awesome thing there with that shop. They're doing it the right way, and I think that's going to draw a good crowd. It's not. I think the conception of and probably another third conversation.
It's shifting.
Yeah, there's just a lot of good business in downtown that's bringing a lot of different people that are from Statesville that have given up on Statesville, and then from outside that are coming to get away from the traffic. And I mean, I look at what we have in our store, and sometimes I get discouraged, and I'm like, man, I wish I had. I'll go to Doug's shop in Winston, a ski and tennis station, and I'll walk in. I'm like, man, we don't have that, and we don't have that, like we don't have that. And he's just like, Nick, I've been open 40 years. You've been open a year. Like, just baby steps. Take time. Like, don't get discouraged. Don't come in here and look and think that you need more. Like, sell what you got, and next year add a little more. Next year add a little more, and you'll make it.
My wife reminds me, what is it? And what you're saying, it's not envy, but what is it? Envy is the thief of joy, or something like that, or whatever. Yeah. And I'm like, yes, she's like, look what you're doing here. It's going really well. You should be happy. I'm like, yeah, but it's like, I'm looking here. Yep. And she's like, just enjoy the moment.
Exactly. Like, that's we. I tell you, every night, me and Amy and Ella, like I usually put Ella to bed, but we all go in there, and after Everly goes to bed, and we say our prayers, and every night we thank God for our employees and our customers, and ask for them to come back, and just, I mean, and we enjoy every moment. I mean, that's it. I mean, I enjoy every second I'm in that store. Like, there's not a time where I'm just like, get me out of here.
Right.
Like, I miss, if I'm not around Amy and the girls, like, I do miss that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if I get home at 7:00 and they've been home at 5, like, it stings. But like, that's just a little bit of a small sacrifice right now because I know there's going to be one day we're probably with Ella and they're 24/7 because they're trying to run me out. But I hope anyway. That's the goal. But it's, I don't know. Like you said, enjoy every moment, even the small little successes, the small little that seem so minor. Like paying off your inventory on time.
Right.
That's
right.
Like my aunt was asking me, "Are you guys doing good?" I'm like, like we're gonna go and we're gonna close the year out and hopefully be like not have any debt. I'm good. Like, if we can end the year and have all of our bills paid and not asking vendors for an extension, like we've adjust and shift, and next year we'll probably add something else and do a little bit more of the ones we have that have worked. So Cool and Patagonia and North Face and Burton have been those things, and Sorel and Prana, and we just got good brands that have good warranties that stand behind their products, that make quality stuff that's going to last 10, 15. Not something that you're going to buy at BJ's and need a new one. Place for BJ's. Want something to last 15. got to spend a little bit.
That's right. Well, man, thank you for taking the opportunity to come in here, and thank you for taking the chance of opening up a store and bringing it to Statesville, because it's something that man, absolutely.
Didn't know where it was going to go, but that was that was good. My wife's probably like, "What are you talking about?" And just shut up.
No, man, it's good because, and also thank you for also providing people an opportunity or a space for them to come to feel comfortable enough to talk about something or to get something off their chest.
Yeah.
You know, kind of a soft place for them to land, because you wouldn't think your real retail store
would be that place,
right?
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah, and I you know, not to kind of leave with this, anybody listening, and if anybody out there just like needs, somebody came to me and said, "Hey, man, I need a day to unwind. I don't have any friends. I just need somebody that doesn't know me. I don't want to hire. I will take anybody up to the mountain, and we'll go ride. And as long as my wife's cool with it, and it doesn't interfere with something going on with our family, then like I came in today and he's like, man, I don't even want to go ride with, and I just like I want to go ride, and I said, well, man, let's try to plan. I met this guy a couple times, a super guy, but I was like, yeah, maybe one night we'll get a group together and we'll just get off work at 6 and we'll go up and ride till 10 o'clock at night. That'd be awesome. He's like, yeah, like I don't have anybody to do that with anymore. So I mean, anybody that ever wants, or is in this space of extreme sports and just wants to come chat about something that they're going through, come on. I mean, I'm no minister or counselor, but I got 2 ears and pretty good at listening. So I have a lot of bad experiences I can share with you. So.
Well, man, I think that's a great thing, and we appreciate you doing that.
Yeah.
And thanks again for coming on. And you guys go check out Roots Outdoor in downtown Statesville. Check them out on social media. And also thank you to States Vegas Clothing Company for providing me with all my gear this season. Thank you to Kasey.tate at Farm Bureau Insurance. Thank you to Black Flag Holster Company.
Kasey.tate, Farm Bureau. I'm just kidding. You got to get into him. He's a good dude. I'm kidding.
And Integrity Security. Also, I'm missing one, man. Oh, Hunk of Junk Calling. One call removes it all. And thank you guys. Appreciate it. And we'll see you next time.